everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Fourtress of, a podcast about movies and TV shows and video games and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me per usual are the entire gang. We got Alex, Brian, and Devin all here today. We're all in the house.
The squad.
How's everyone doing today?
Kicking it.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but blacker.
How's everyone doing on this fine Independence Day where everyone has the rights to do whatever they want?
I feel so incredibly independent.
Whose Independence Day is it? It's not my Independence Day.
Exactly.
Somber Independence Day. It's like,
Yep.
Listen, I better not see nobody in no American flag. Shorts, shirts, hats. I don't want to see none of it.
yeah.
What about panties?
Okay, that's allowed. That's fine. Because that's just kind of funny. I don't know. It just was really funny for the American flag to be
It's
that
just
close
a weird,
to your
ironic
gooch.
piece of wardrobe. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great. So with that, listeners, if you want to skip ahead to any section of the show or avoid spoilers or anything like that, check that out in the show notes and all the time codes and everything like that. But with that, shall we get into our first segment of the week, guys?
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
News talk.
So here we go. First piece of quick news. Nintendo had a bit of a direct. It was kind of a direct that Nintendo was like, yeah, it's not really us, like Nintendo, you know, you're not gonna get no Marios and no Zeldas like that, but it's like the people who are like, yeah, you can hop on board and show your shit.
Here's all of our friends that want to talk about stuff, and we're hosting the event for some reason.
Exactly. So there wasn't like a lot of like majorness. The biggest thing that I saw was like, I guess Persona again, but literally Xbox just did that. So I was
Right.
like, nothing really from that.
Now everyone gets
Anything else?
Persona. You get Persona. You get Persona. We're all gonna be
Yeah.
anime
But
weebs.
it has some of the older ones on there too, right? Was that on
I
the
know.
Yeah,
Xbox as
Persona
well?
3 and 4 are both. So it's basically literally the exact same thing that Microsoft just got. So it's
Oh,
Persona
okay.
3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are all coming to Nintendo Switch as well, which is very cool. But since they just did that, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Why couldn't you just say that earlier? No, we gotta say it this time on this
Say it again.
podcast.
Right.
There's also some new DLC for Monster Hunter Rise, I think, which looks super cool. But I never played any of those games. It looked very overwhelming.
They are. They're very front heavy when it comes to learning curve, and that's why people aren't super Monster Hunter fans unless you already were, because it's not good for newbies. But apparently they care about their fan base because they're releasing stuff. It's like every season or something crazy like that.
I respect
That
that.
seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you know this Blanco. I don't know how to say the name. This like black and white video game looks super charming.
Oh yeah. That looks super cool. A lot of their indie stuff is looking interesting. The art styles are.
The Switch has got some bomb indie stuff. But yeah, I love
Right.
I love a good cute game. This looks super fun. You're like playing as a deer and or a like black dog, and you're just hanging out, being two unlikely friends on an adventure together. Sounds like a movie. I'm down.
Right. I mean, like, speaking of cute, like the one thing that I was very excited about, and this just purely nostalgia, was the Pac-Man World Re-PAC edition. It's so funny because,
That's
like,
a
I
good name.
swear before this happened, I had a dream about this game.
Oh my gosh! It came to fruition because of you.
It was so weird. And then this shit happened. I was like, oh my God, what is this real? But like, I used to play the crap out of this game on PS1, was terrible at it, could not do well. And once we got to the ghost parts of that game, was horrified. So I'm kind of genuinely excited to like jump back into that at some point.
And actually, hopefully,
and
be able to
actually
beat it.
beat that
without-
game.
Wow.
I will say it is probably not going to feel like how it felt when you were playing on PlayStation 1, because I remember that game being an atrocity. I remember that game being terrible. But no, I love nostalgia trips, so more power to you. I'm not going to play it. Enjoy.
Yeah.
The one thing I noticed about the Nintendo Direct was a really weird thing about Sonic Frontiers, actually. A game that looks like it's going to be a piece of ass. A whole section of it.
No.
They've been gatekeeping a weird portion of the game. All we keep seeing is the same open world that looks absolutely terrible over and over again. And then they introduce in only this mini Nintendo Direct that there's going to be kind of levels, maybe? There's times where Sonic goes into rifts and actually goes through what looks like a real Sonic level, which was something we've been trying to figure out since this game has been announced. Are you going to play Sonic? Or am I just going to run around
Right.
with Breath of the Wild world for the rest of the game? It looks like, yes, you get to play actual Sonic at some point. We don't know how much of that you get to play. If it's a thing that happens often, who knows?
It does look a little bit better now after this this little thing.
It looks close to actually being a Sonic
A
game
little
now.
bit, like literally a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I will continue to be worried about this game as they keep, I don't know, weirdly giving us the smallest bit of information.
I feel like it's just gonna come out and it's just gonna be another Sonic game.
I mean, that's at best.
At best.
But there actually, I just as I was scrolling through the Nintendo stuff, there is one other thing that I didn't hear about until now, but it had been announced earlier. Was this Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is literally what looks to me Animal Crossing, but Disney.
Ugh.
And I feel like people are gonna go wild
Oh,
over
absolutely.
this game.
Yeah.
Like I sent this link to Jackie, and she was like, "Oh my god, it's The Sims and Animal Crossing, but Disney."
Yeah.
That's a Disney
This
adult
is gonna make $1 million.
Yeah.
So this looks pretty cool, but I will see your Disney Animal Crossing and raise you an RPG Animal Crossing
Oh, boy.
with Harvestella.
Oh yeah,
This game looks
Uh-huh.
pretty cool. It's like a Square Enix action RPG with lots of like Farmville elements built in, where you have to like build up a whole community and plant some
Right.
seeds and barter with the townsmen to get new beef stock and whatever.
very similar to there's another game that oh, what's it called? It's like Minecraft but 2D.
Stardew Valley.
Yes, Stardew Valley.
Oh
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah, totally. It
It's
looks
just
pretty
Stardew
Very
cool.
Valley,
similar.
but Square Enix is gonna make it fun. Or
Yeah.
people like Stardew
Hopefully.
Valley a whole lot.
So it seems like there's going to be lots and lots
Yeah.
of space games next year, and lots of Stardew Valley
Too
Animal
much
Crossing.
They
space,
want you to
I'll
feel
say.
good and then also get super existential at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds exciting.
But yeah, like that was the most of Nintendo stuff. Like there wasn't really anything like super newsworthy, which is why we're being
No
so brisk
Zelda
about
for
it.
some stupid reason.
Yeah, no Mario Odyssey 2, no Breath of the Wild 2, nothing like that. They're just like, yeah, this is stuff that'll hold you over, I guess.
but that's what's funny
until
about these
the
kind of
next
things
one.
is we've seen a lot of indie games popping up this summer, of course, and it's funny because it looks like not much as you look at it right now. But I'm telling you, by the end of the year, at least one of these games that we just heard about are gonna be like a sleeper hit. That's amazing game. That everyone's
Right.
gonna want to play is gonna be the next I don't know, Hollow Knight or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
like that
Probably.
Blanco or that game, something. So we'll see. I don't know.
Mhm.
Right.
I'll play it when I
Yeah.
hear it's good.
Yeah. All right. Last little quick piece of news. We got the first teaser trailer for Hocus Pocus 2, which I am genuinely excited about as someone who loves that original Hocus Pocus.
That is a classic.
It is one of my
That is
favorite
a
movies.
classic. Yes.
I almost wish they didn't touch it. Like I feel like it could only
A
be
little bit.
It could only be worse. Like there's no way it can be better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Like the song, like there's no way they write a better song than I Put a Spell on You. There's no way they do it. I don't know how they can do it. I there's no doubt Bette Midler will sing the shit out of it, but it can't be better than that first movie. There's no
Wow.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a money grab. Let's call it what it is. We're adults now. We can see what it is. They're just trying to make money. Was it coming out on Disney Plus? As soon as it releases, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But hey, this was the movie that made me realize that I have strong feelings for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
So hey, man, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I learned a lot
Absolutely,
about myself
man.
I
watching
learned
this
a lot.
movie originally. So maybe the same thing can happen. Maybe I'll have another grow up from watching this new one, or maybe it'll be awful.
Right.
I mean, nostalgia's like, isn't like nostalgia like 80-90% of what Disney Plus is? Like,
Yes.
Kenobi
Yeah,
nostalgia,
basically.
like all Star Wars nostalgia. The only things that isn't nostalgia is the new Marvel stuff, but everything else is just like, hey, remember when we did this really well? Like all the old Disney movies, like it's just
Right.
doubling down on
And
that.
even
But
like you could even consider some of that Marvel stuff potential nostalgia,
Yeah,
depending
true,
on like
true.
how much you know of that. Like that could even be nostalgia, you know?
Right.
yeah, I think it'll be fun, but just like Kenobi, we probably shouldn't take it too seriously or read too much
That
into
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's all. The fact that it's not going to theaters, is going directly to Disney Plus. I'm like, I kind of have expectations for things that go straight to Disney's Plus. So I'm like,
Mhm.
as long as it's fun, I'll probably have a good time. It'll probably be a fun thing. You have a couple drinks with some friends on Halloween night, whatever type of thing, and just watch this movie. Although I don't even think it's coming out on Halloween night, which is I feel like a missed opportunity.
Interesting.
True.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. All right, that is the news, everyone. We did it once again. Shall we move into our main topic of the week?
I'm ready.
But once again, we are trapped within another fortress. This is a fortress we were in a couple weeks ago, but now because of the CGI and the effects are all ready, we're back into it. Regardless whether or not it should have had a break or not, we are in the Fortress of
Killing the hell
Stranger
out of that Kate Bush
Things,
song.
part 4.5.
Stranger Things, part 4.2.
the Fortress of Kate Bush.
Right. Homegirl is just raking in that money right now, smiling on her
Oof.
face.
I'm so happy for her. That's great. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're doing Stranger Things Volume 2, everyone. So yes, the last 2 episodes of season 4, which basically are 2 mini movies at this point. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about all of that. We'll get into spoilers in quite a little bit. But real quick, I will say, overall, I think it's very clear that this break was not intended, and it was very much the effects were not ready, so we had no choice but make a break. Just because I think the break between Volume 1 and Volume 2 was a little bit to their detriment in the sense that they're like, yeah, it's gonna be super dark, a lot of characters, you might not die, blah blah blah, and then by the end, it's like, okay, whatever. You know, it worked almost status quo-ish.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I still enjoyed it. I think it's I think season 3 is the best, but this is probably tied with season 1. Season 2 is still the worst for me.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they picked up like literally the same like moments right after we left the last episode of the first volume, which makes sense. Like they left us on like a big cliffhanger, but it was cool to like jump immediately right back in. So in hindsight, I can kind of see how that would make a lot more sense if it was just all released at the same time. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a hell of a finale. I think it's one of my favorite seasons. Maybe I'm saying that because it's been so long since I've seen the other ones, but I had a great time. I thought I had some of the best like soundtrack aside from the Kate Bush song, obviously. But like, there's so many great music, so much great music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
For me, I was like, I definitely enjoyed this season a lot, but I think that it's very clear that to me, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it seems like they could have just ended it here because like every character arc seemed kind of complete. So now, like, you know, the way it ends, it's like, well, you know, it just felt very like cop-outy to me the way it ended, just so they could push another season. And I'm not really sure where the direction that's going to go next one. But that aside, I think everybody, like all the character arcs were really good. I just loved how the pace just drove the whole show. And it didn't let up for these last 2 parts. Like every scene, even though the last one's like a movie, every scene you're just kind of like, you know, going. So I really enjoyed it. I think for me, it's definitely up there for one of the top seasons of Stranger Things.
I would say I mostly agree with Devin there. I had fun. I thought it was super cool. I think it's one of those shows that you just have to kind of accept it for what it is. I do think that hearing them talk too much about it may have spoiled some of what happened on screen at the end here, because it had me have some expectations that just weren't going to be there. Like you said, it was going to just be status quo, which is fine for a show like this. It just kind of made sense for them to keep doing what they were doing, and they're doing it well. It was super cool. I yelled at the screen. And that doesn't happen unless cool stuff happens.
There are a lot of moments of, oh my God.
I love that kind of stuff. That feeling super cool.
Very
so
much
to do that, and this was like, this is pretty dope.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So spoilers from here, listeners, for this Volume 2, also Volume 1, and pretty much anything kind of Stranger Things. So just be aware of that. If you're not caught up in any Stranger Things, we're going to spoil the hell of it. I kind of want to start with the big bad. Let's start with Vecna in the sense that I guess I'm still confused slightly in the sense that, so he is the big bad.
Yeah.
And it seems to me what the show is telling me is that he saw the big smoke spider monster, and then he's been controlling it this entire time. So he in a sense, he is the big bad rather than it being that smoke monster the whole time. It's actually Vecna this whole time, which I'm still kind of confused about how I feel about that entirely.
Well, Dustin said like earlier that he's like, oh, Vecna's one of the top generals. So you thought that maybe the next season they'd reveal a bigger, like, you know, maybe whoever's behind the Upside Down. But yeah, and then they just kind of like walked that back a little bit. And it's like, no, it was him the whole time. And he was just kind of combined with the Mind Flayer kind of thing. So I don't know. That was kind of very vague to me as well.
I'm still kind of digesting it. But yeah, I think that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think that's what they were going for, that he found this darkness, whatever the hell it is. And I guess took it over like the same way he does just about everything else, and just like is controlling that darkness and personifying himself.
My biggest problem with that, and like it's okay if you don't tell everyone everything, but it's like I still want to know where the fuck he got his powers from. Is he an X-Men?
True.
Why does this little boy just randomly get powers out of nowhere, and he like I think that's my
Yeah,
biggest
Oscar, don't you
question.
remember he just looked at a clock really hard one day and he's like, oh,
He looked at a clock, he
telekinesis.
pet a spider, and then he was like, "Boom, I'm
Yeah.
Magneto."
If you want it bad enough, you can do anything.
Exactly.
Right.
No, for me, one of my least favorite storytelling things that happen, especially in like TV shows, and I think a lot is just the detriment of writing things as you go and not having an overarching plan to begin with, which is fine. I mean, it works for with a lot of things, but sometimes it feels weird. I don't like when you introduce a new character and then make them the "it was me all along" kind of situation. I like the idea of having
Mhm.
red herrings and things of trying to figure out that mystery of what is going on in this world. Why is this the way that it is? And then you introduce a character at the second to last season, and then also make him the reason that everything exists, feels shallow to me.
I guess my
Mm.
question to that, Brian, is like, at which season would you prefer it? Because like obviously, like this wasn't the last season, so they have another season, so that would be 2 seasons of Vecna. Like, would it be season 2, season 3? If they introduce this element, would make you feel a little better about it,
Maybe,
or
yeah,
what?
maybe like a season 2 or 3 where it's like where you're still at that establishing point. This isn't an establishing point anymore, at this late in the
Okay,
show. We're at that
right.
point where everything has basically been laid out except for this. Like I said, we had a lot of things that got figured out very quickly in this season of like, oh, he's a foot soldier. No, it's him all along. Oh, one, we knew him. Like all these things just all happen in this season, which is kind of crazy to think about that you
Mm,
never even saw that actor beforehand in any capacity.
that's
It
fair.
could have been a daydream, something. Like, I don't know, it just felt empty.
It could have been
Yeah.
cool to see some kind of foreshadowing, even if you don't necessarily know it's Vecna or who he is, or like some kind of flashes when people are getting like these hypnotized trances or whatever. Like they're seeing like the mind flare. Oh, it's the mind flare, but maybe you're getting a glimpse of like there's something else behind the mind flare. We don't know what
Right.
that is.
But even if they
Right.
didn't know what it
Well,
was
and we'll
yet.
figure
Because
out
again,
later.
that goes through the whole thing where like for me, I was like, so does that mean that big cloud spider was not sentient and he just happened to that?
Hmm.
I think that's probably my biggest problem with it. And who knows what they do in the last season, but if it's discovered that like, yeah, he just happened to come across this alternate realm where there was just this thing that he was like, hey, I'm going to take control of this. That would probably sour it a little bit in the sense that it does seem like the past seasons that thing had a mind of its own,
Right.
and that is the end all be all, whatever that big cloud thing
Mhm.
is.
It
So
cheapens the whole upside down and it kind of makes it feel like it has no worth now. So now it's just, Vecna's plaything. So there's that mystery that we've been trying to figure
right,
out basically never existed because they're never going to tell you what the mystery was. They're just like, oh, it exists. And
Well,
this guy was touching the fingers of it. Like, okay,
yeah.
whatever, I guess.
But yeah, like they still, and I hope they get to this in the next season of like why when they went to the Upside Down, it's like, oh, it's stuck in 1983, like from that first
Yeah.
day or whatever. So the Upside Down was like created, but it doesn't really look like he was in the Upside Down when he found that, the smoke must of the
Yeah,
mind flare
that's
kind
what
of
I've been
thing.
wondering too. Was he in the same upside down place? Did he create the upside down
That's what I'm saying.
as
Like
like a mirror
that's
image
what's
of
very
the real
yeah.
Earth?
See, I didn't
So
get a sense that he
There's
created it. It looked like that just happened. I think that's probably my biggest issue is that it seemed to just be a place that existed. He just happened to get there and
right.
find something that he could control, and they're never going to explain like where it came from, what it is. It might just be a thing that's like, yeah, this is just a weird dimension that's existed for 1,000 years.
I'm
Yada
fine
yada
with
yada.
that. That
Blah
makes
blah blah.
sense. It's ethereal. It's deep. We don't have to understand
Right.
that. But why did it look so different and barren and unpopulated? I get that there's no humans, but there was like one demigorgon. And I
Right.
get
and some
there's
bats.
no there's no
Right.
hive mind yet. Like he creates the hive mind, whatever, I can accept that. But like
Yeah.
there's no buildings, there's no alternate Earth.
Yeah, that's what. And I think
Right.
that with the time travel thing, I think that has to be significant that it is Hawkins. It's like is the Upside Down, but to me, I just think that I'd be disappointed if because like the Upside Down felt so cool and alien, and in the first few seasons where it's like this is like this other dimension kind of stuff trying to sneak into our world, and that was kind of one of the cool things about Stranger Things, like the mystery of it and like how alien that was. But now if it's just like, oh, Vecna just created like Hawkins and like this kind of like lab in this other dimension, and then that's like it's just one moment stuck in time kind of thing, and it's the whole Upside Down itself is just like a one little reflection of the real world. I just feel like I'm gonna be a little let down by that if Vecna's behind that, and it's different. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And again, like this is a lot of stuff where like maybe the final season fixes a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Like it is like this is probably like our biggest like knowledge bomb of what the Upside Down
right.
is was this season. And so maybe season 5 is a lot of, because like there's no more mystery with Vecna at this
Yeah.
point. So basically at this point, it's just like maybe they answer a lot more things in that
That's true.
final 5th season type of
There's
thing.
there is one mystery that I want to answer, and I want to discuss. Okay, how the fuck is he even still alive? Other than the fact that they need to bring him back for season 5, my man got blasted by L. He took about 7.
Why didn't Nancy go for the head?
He took about 7 shotgun shells to the face. Like, he took 2 Molotov cocktails, and he tumbles about 3 stories dead. And then they just come down, he's just gone.
It's the power of hate. It's the dark side.
Yes. I was like, what? Like, Nancy's just sitting there blasting him apart, and then he's just like, yeah, I'll just walk it off. Like, it's
Nancy
fine.
was gat blasted, man. She was killing it. That was one of the cool scenes that I screamed at.
Yeah, but she a bad shot, bro. Come on now. Aim for his face.
I liked how she was handling the gun and stuff. I wonder what they did in post and what they didn't, because she was definitely like reacting to like the flash of the muzzle and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's some good acting. And if there's some recoil in there, it's not like it's not like Walking Dead. They love to just have people.
I mean, I've never shot a gun, but I feel like a shotgun has arguably one of the biggest recoil. That thing moved like a tiny little inch, and she's also like the skinniest character.
She weighs like
Right.
6 pounds.
Like
Oh no, we'll
that
talk about
shotgun
another
would've flown her
character
back.
that also has no
Right.
concept of how a gun works, or is just the strongest character in the universe.
Right.
But we'll get there. But yeah,
It seems like, and because Vecna lived, and the guy was telling her, like, doesn't really do a lot of damage, maybe she probably should have taken the advice from the psycho basketball player guy and gotten that 357 Magnum, just like.
But if she knew the plan was always to get like right up in his business, so
True.
Also, fuck that guy. So fuck him.
Oh, the jock? Yes. That dude, which I do love. All right, we're just going to jump to him real quick. I do love that his, like, he doesn't really get an arc. He's just like straight villain to the point where the earth splits and he just gets torn in half. And it's like, that's the end of his storyline, getting ripped in half underneath the earth.
So I don't know about you guys, but I was really bummed when he died. Of course, I wanted him to be dead, but like he deserved so much worse.
Yeah.
And honestly, the biggest problem I have with his death is that he died still thinking that he was right about everything.
Still thinking that Lucas and all these kids were the devil.
That really pisses
that's
me
my
off.
problem too. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Because like most of the villains, like they get their, like they'll realize what they've done and then it's like, oh shit, and then they'll die. But he literally died trying to kill 2 children. And then he doesn't realize that he was wrong the whole. Yeah. It's a bit of a weird.
We've talked about how this is arguably the scariest season of Stranger Things, but that scene where he and Lucas are like fighting for their lives was the scariest thing that I've seen on television in a long time. Like that was really triggering.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got away with airing that shit, honestly. Like, are they watching the news? Do they know what's going on right now? Like, this is real life shit.
It felt like racism.
As soon as he pointed that gun at Lucas, I was like, oh, like
It
even
was really intense.
For side note, the Sinclair siblings are the most badass children in this fucking shit. Erica, his little sister, beats the shit out of this like 4 years older jock and takes him out. I was like, Erica is a
She also gets
badass, and so is
tackled
Lucas.
and like is like fine.
Yes, this dude's gonna break her arm.
That dude, they are the worst fucking bullies.
The most prison 80s bullies in
Stranger
the
Things
world.
bullies are psychopathic. They are all the scariest
They
people
all
on
are.
earth.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on. Because that's the same thing with like season 1 where Stranger Things, where Elle like broke Homeboy's arm so that he wouldn't like throw Homeboy like Mike down a hill or some shit and kill him. It's like, why are you trying to kill people?
Right.
That's not a bully. That's a psychopath.
It's very,
dude.
yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
It's like the kids in It.
Right.
It's very much, yeah. It's
Did you say
very much
It?
everyone.
The Stephen King's It? Yeah. That's got another like crazy, I'm gonna kill you fucking type of bullies.
all the 80s bullies are just like crazy
Yeah.
people.
Y'all
They're
are home
sociopaths.
murderers. What is wrong with you? You're
very
12.
true,
Calm down, dude.
But yeah, like I do love, like, and that was one thing I was looking forward to in that trailer that came out before this was Lucas getting his mini boss fight with the jock. And I guess as a whole, yeah, the jock, his storyline was kind of crap. By the end, it was like, oh, he really just like was a giant piece of shit. Like, because you never see what happens to the rest of the jocks. Like you see Erica beat one up, but the rest of them, you never see what happens to them except him. He gets torn in half, and it's like, okay, well, he's gone now. That's
They
the end
all
of
fell
that.
in the chasm. That when the
They all got
ripped
ripped
in
all fell in.
It would have been
Every
cool
single
to
one.
see some of them being like, I don't know, like, bro, maybe you're taking this a little too far. I don't think we need to like be going and
Right.
going to the gun store, and then he just decks them all in the face. Maybe that's why we don't see them anymore. That would
'Cause he
be
get
kind
blasted
of
all
neat
over.
to see though.
Yeah.
Yeah, homeboy was in denial.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
running Lucas's shit though beforehand, and then tell Lucas from the power of heart and strength.
But Lucas was holding his own by
But
the
he
end,
was
though,
getting his
man.
shit beat in
Yeah.
before then. I was like, okay, I don't know.
I loved it. I fucking loved it, man.
That was a little too scary for me.
That's fair. That's
It felt
fair.
racist.
It felt very racist and very. It was way too real for me.
Yeah,
I mean, it is the 80s.
I liked that
so.
whole Lucas's story. Like it was hard to watch, but it felt like the realest thing that was happening. And maybe that's not really what Stranger Things is. It's not it's sci-fi, but I don't know. It felt relatable to me, and it was interesting to see. But man, was that finale for him hard to watch.
Lucas goes through some shit in that finale.
I don't know if they
God.
meant to put it that way, like what you're saying, Alex, because that's very interesting. Because I relate to that as well. Being a black kid in a mostly white area, you have to do some things and change yourself to be more accepted. And I know they try to do it more in a cornier '80s way of just like, oh, he's a nerd and he wants to be a jock, but it's also he's the only black kid and he's hanging around with a bunch of white kids, and I guess there's another black guy in there, but he's also token, so it feels really weird.
Right.
See, I didn't even think about that connection and maybe why that felt so real to me. But now that you say that out loud, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they knew what they were doing, honestly.
Right. I'm not sure if they did.
Parts of it in the beginning felt like I was like, oh, they're telling like Lucas's story as like a black man coming of age or whatever. Like this is cool. And then when they're we're talking about this for a long time, but when he pulls out the gun and points it, I'm like, okay, well, like did they really like did they not think this through?
know what that meant.
Did they not think this through? Like
Right,
this is
yeah.
really intense right now.
Well, I could even say like there's that and like a similar element that like yes, it was a big thing in the 80s, but like I feel like there's a lot of people nowadays that can kind of like I don't know, identify with that is Will. Like Will's whole like clearly they're going with a Will is gay. He's going to come out at some point. Jonathan
Yeah,
knows
I
it
think-
type of
I think
thing. And
that's
like there's
awesome.
even that beautiful I will say that Will is acting his motherfucking ass off. Those last 2 episodes, he does nothing but cry
Will and
and
Luke has
hug
been putting the
people.
show on their back.
He is breaking this shit, dude. Like every time he's on screen, I'm like, this fucking kid. I feel so bad. And like he has a beautiful conversation with Elle and Mike, and then also later with Jonathan about being different. Like how he's just like comparing himself to Elle about like how being different is like a hard thing and yada yada. And then Jonathan clearly gives him like a bit of a side eye
Yeah.
earlier on while he's driving the van, or it's like he knows kind of what Will's dealing with, and he wants to talk to him about it. And so I do think there are these real world elements that you can identify now more than you could like as an 80s kid. Like in the 80s, like those were things that people kept secret, sadly, type of thing. And so I think it is we're seeing this through present day eyes. And so I do think it is interesting that they didn't like double down and just straight out like confront that in this last 2 episodes type of thing. Like just be like, yeah, Will's gay. Like he never came out in those last
I mean,
two
they did
episodes.
everything but
And
say
maybe
it.
they do that
Like-
in the next
like,
season.
All the hints are there. It's
Right.
so obvious. Like they did everything but come out and just say it. So I don't know.
Maybe
I mean,
that's good. Maybe that's better
Right.
storytelling.
yeah, but like what ambiguity? Like there's no ambiguity left in that regard for me. But it's like good. Like
And it might be a thing, like I was saying, it might be true to the 80s
Right.
timeline where it's like, yeah, people were afraid to come out at that time because like, yeah, much like being black in the 80s, it was like, yeah, you don't want to you draw no attention to yourself in any way type
Right.
of thing,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with Will, my only problem with Will is he calls Mike the heart of the group. Okay, if anybody the heart of the group, it's Dustin.
Oh.
All right, he's like you're the leader of
Yes.
the group, Mike. It's like
I
the only
agree.
thing Mike provides to this whole group is a fucking basement where they have no restrictions. And parents never check on them. Okay, that is Mike's one contribution to Stranger Things. Okay,
He's the friend
other
with
than
the
that, he's a
pool.
piece of white bread. Fuck Mike. He's the only
Absolutely.
person I didn't like this whole season. I was like, man, I fucking hate Mike this season. I don't know why.
He's been quite useless.
He just had that skinny white boy energy, and I just didn't like it.
funny.
I did think that particular line was really weird, just based on his contribution to this season specifically, which was nothing.
Literally,
Nothing.
all he did was distract Elle when Elle's like having the psychic fight. He's like, "Well, what's going on now?" She's like, "I'm trying to fucking focus, Mike. I'm fighting vector right now. Just shut the fuck up." He's like, wait, we're here for you, Elle. Yeah, I care
Yeah.
about you, and you're a superhero. And
He really had jack shit
All he
to
did was
do.
be tall and annoying.
That was my biggest thing about it as well, where it's like, though there was the whole big thing of like, what is Will's painting? And then you finally see it, and it's like basically the whole thing is like Will is the heart of the team. It's like,
Or
is he
Mike,
though?
Mike is right.
Yeah, Mike's the heart of the team, and it's like, is
Yeah.
he though?
Will should be.
but dude, how is it not Dustin? Dustin is by far the heart of the
Aw.
group. Okay, come on.
Right.
Dustin puts in the most work. That's for damn sure.
He does, man.
Mhm.
Mike just gets all the credit.
Right. Let's talk about Dustin real quick because he has one of the more heartbreaking moments with him and Eddie, in the sense that I was genuinely surprised that Dustin went back into the Upside Down.
Mhm.
Once he left, I was like, all right, that's it. This is why Eddie dies, because no one's there. But Dustin he's like, fuck it, screw it, and he jumps back in. And then you get that beautiful moment of Eddie dying in his arms, which, I mean, we all could kind of see it coming. Like, that was one of my predictions, was that Eddie's gonna die. I wasn't quite right, I will admit, of the musical sacrifice. I thought he would die literally playing a guitar, but I was close enough, so I'll take it.
Yeah, once he stood up and was like, "Wait, how are we going to make this distraction?" I was like, "Okay, he's done. He's sacrificing himself. He's the distraction. He's dead."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was a bummer
Yep.
though. He was one of my favorite characters. He was so great.
He was so
This is
good,
one of the things
man.
that kind of makes me mad about the show, but also I just have to accept that the show is quite, it's pretty standard. Outside of like maybe the overarching sci-fi aspect of it, it's a pretty standard hero story. We already had a situation with the Pussy to Hero timeline with Bob, where he had Bob like be like a real scared little bitch baby, and then finally be like, "Well, now's the time that I need to step up and do my best," and then he dies. And then we see Eddie. He's likable. He's goofy. He's a scared little pansy boy. And then next thing you know, he's over there fighting off people while playing Metallica and all that stuff. And then of course he dies. Stop introducing characters to die. I don't think that's a very interesting concept anymore. We see it all the time, where you introduce a new character as basically fodder to have a demise.
Right. So that they don't have to kill any of the main characters.
Right. Especially this late in the show, once again, where it's like,
Right.
this will be
Not
the
everything
time.
can be Game of Thrones though. They can't just be killing off main characters in every
And that's
show.
perfectly fine if they
Right.
didn't say there's going to be death in this season. There's been death in every season. It's just not the death that we care about.
Again, I think that is to the detriment of them splitting
Right.
this up. I think if what it was intended was this to be just like a normal season that came out all at once, that wouldn't have been an issue.
Right.
I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't think it has the same impact once again. And a lot of
That's fair.
like you said, stuff that's not Game of Thrones, of course. Like like the main character can't
Right.
die, yada yada yada. And you feel some kind of like safety in that. But not everything needs to be safe anymore. We've seen so much safe stuff that this would be the time not to be safe. And what kind of threw that off was the fact that they did
True.
something that was truly interesting with Max, and then they kind of rewrote it like they're not gonna actually do what was happening there by killing her.
Yeah.
And that's a little disappointing. Because then that would have made that feel more heavy.
I will say I was genuinely surprised because like after volume 1, we were all like, all right, so Max is probably safe considering they faked her death already. So when the fact that they doubled down, I was like, oh shit, are they really gonna? I was genuinely surprised. I thought she was dead, dude,
Didn't
and
see
that
that coming.
They pulled
actually
a Walking
got me,
Dead
man.
and gave Lucas a really powerful scene.
Yeah.
I like how as rough as we talked about her fall was in the first one, this one had to be so much.
Like,
Like she's got like a
She
femur
literally
sticking
fell
out.
with her ankles at 90 degree
Homegirl's out there
angles.
looking like a protractor.
We know she's in a coma, but what about her appendages? Like, aren't they broken? Like,
Yes, she was in a full body
They're
cast.
shattered.
they didn't talk about that.
Yeah, her whole body's in a cast.
No.
They showed her like that, and I was like, yeah, she's pretty fucked.
You're right. You're right.
She was in a full body cast, like something you see in like a comedy
Yeah.
movie, just like every single thing covered in cast. Like,
Her
Yeah.
life, that really fucking sucks.
Homegirl was out there looking like spaghetti noodles when she hit that ground, and then Lucas just had to hold her. It's wobbling.
and once again, they didn't think to like put a pillow down or like a mattress to like
fell
soften
hard.
her fall. They're just like, no, whatever hard surface
No,
we're gonna be okay with you just falling on that. That's fine.
I will say that scene was like emotionally got me with Lucas holding her, thinking she's dying.
Yeah, that was real.
And then Elle being there psychically, like
Mhm.
Lucas and Max don't know she's there, but Elle is there. Like that emotionally got me. That's where I was like, oh fuck, they're gonna kill her. I was genuinely surprised by that. And then the 2 days later came up. I was like, what is this? An end game? What is happening? What are we doing? What
That
is
was
this?
such a long like denouement. Like, I wasn't expecting that to last as long as it did.
Yeah.
I loved it though. Like, I feel like we're always cut short
Yeah.
for those resolutions and
Mhm.
things.
I do appreciate how much time they added for like an epilogue because I, as you guys know, I do love an epilogue. and that it didn't just end after Vecna.
Right.
I
Yeah,
do
getting to,
appreciate
getting to
that.
see everybody reunite for the first time. It felt like the first time all the
Mhm.
Starks were together after
Yeah.
who knows how
Right,
long.
which is like, because fucking Mike and Jonathan and Argyle and them, let's face it, they do jack shit in this entire season. They drive a bus.
They drove 8,000 miles to get a whole lot of
they,
nothing.
they saved L. They
They
picked it
save
up.
L. That is their only thing
That's all they had to do.
I will say Argyle is MVP. Argyle is MVP of that
True,
crew.
true. He was
He
great.
really was.
My man got them salt, got them a place to put her in the little tank, made them pizza, drove
them
them
a
8,000
pizza.
miles without asking anybody for gas money. Like, dude is a G, and I'm into it.
Without even questioning it, too.
Right. He just met these people.
How does that gotta feel for those military guys that came out and like their whole like fleet, you know, their cars are all in ruin, the helicopters are all shot down, and you just see a pizza bus just like driving away. Like that's gotta be the worst
embarrassing.
moment in US military history. Just like,
They just gotta walk back.
oh my God.
And from the middle of nowhere.
It's like, how old were those kids? They are in high school, sir. They're in their first year of high school. And they have gone away with the most dangerous asset in the world. It's like, we're just not going to talk about
And
this.
a pizza delivery truck.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Also, did y'all appreciate that Star Wars callback there in the when they're coming down the top, like in that scene where the military busts in there, and it's like the tunnel scene. Like I feel like they mirrored Star Wars on purpose. Like,
Oh, which in what way? I can't remember what you mean.
in part one, Papa, where he's talking to Elle about how she has to leave, but then the military breaks in, and like there's that scene where like it's like the first opening scene of Star Wars where like all the guys like get undercover.
It's one single
And
tunnel.
then it's basically like the stormtroopers, blow in, but it's the U.S. military, and they come in with those shields and like shoot all of them very easily. And like I was like, holy shit, this is Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a really nice catch. I definitely didn't think about that. I got very like Greek Spartans. I kind of got that vibe, but yeah, it's very very Star Warsy for sure.
Mhm.
Weird defense position. I'm not really sure what they were thinking they were going to do. You would think when they're funneling people through one tunnel, it should be pretty easy to like, murder all these people, but somehow they just were the worst shots ever.
They needed a thermal detonator up in there.
They needed a thermal
Amen to
detonator.
I was gonna say one grenade solves all their problems.
Speaking of like who needed one, Hopper and crew, they needed some help.
Okay, Hopper put in the most work this season of
Once
anybody.
again,
He-
this man
Been
is
through hell and back twice.
the biggest badass and maybe a superhero, potentially stronger than L on the power level scale. I'm pretty sure.
When he picked up that Master Sword, I was like,
He said the
hold
Master
up.
Sword.
Oh my god, dude!
That was so
That was
over the
amazing.
top.
Me and Brian were talking about it, and we were like, because I don't think any of us has saw that Hellboy movie that he was in. David Harbour, he played Hellboy, and Hellboy has a giant sword, and I feel like when he whips that sword
he
out,
played Hellboy?
He played the new
yeah,
Hellboy.
like they did a reboot
Oh,
after
reboot.
him, after Ron
Oh,
It wasn't
Perlman,
very good.
Interesting.
and it was apparently not
Wasn't
very
very
good. And he whips out a sword. I was like, "Is this a Hellboy nod? Is this
That's
what's
funny.
happening right now?" Like he's holding it, and like he goes to town. Like, where did he find that weird Russian sword? Anyways,
It's
it doesn't
just like
really
one of those-
matter.
I think it's one of the weapons. My wife Bambi
Yeah.
actually recognized it. She said she saw it in one of the earlier episodes when they're like grabbing weapons and stuff.
Oh,
But
okay,
it's
okay.
such a specifically stylistic like
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
RPG sword. Like it's
It's a
crazy.
PG.
That whole montage of like everyone like kicking ass with the fucking Kate Bush song going, I was into it. I was like, this is great editing. I fucking love this. Keep it going. It was totally fine.
That montage is the only reason he was doing that with the sword, because Murray's just sitting there with a freaking fully loaded flamethrower and he does nothing. He's just like,
I love
you know what?
Murray.
I'll let him fight with the
I
sword.
love
Like,
Murray.
I'm assuming it ran out of juice or whatever on that
Juice.
first round.
yeah, maybe,
Fire juice.
maybe.
Either that or he had a bad angle. He had a bad angle.
I played enough video games to know those things don't have enough fuel.
You get enough shots
Yeah.
for one boss fight. That's it. You can't do two. After that, it's all gone. They don't want you to have fun. Yeah, he was shooting the AK-47, another famously recoil-heavy gun that you cannot one hand. This man was one-handing that shit like it was nothing. Why is this dude a superhero?
He's been eating maggots for 8 months, and
And
he
it made
can
him
hold
rip?
that and shoot it with one hand.
Were you eating maggots filled with creatine? Why are you so ripped now? What is happening over there?
Hey, he had one scoop of Jif peanut butter, and that's
That did
you
it.
know
That
he's
Hey,
back.
dude, you don't know what Russian maggots taste like. They're
Those
full of
shits,
creatine.
they lit. What is happening over there? Oh, it's got steroids in it. Dope, nice.
I do
Yeah.
like I don't know how I feel about like the fact that everyone's commenting on Hopper's weight at the end. I'm like, all right, yeah, he's lost weight, but leave him alone. It's fine.
Man's been
Come
through
on
literal
now.
hell.
Leave him alone.
Reason again to not to dislike Mike.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was a little bit of a cop out had they just said that the smoke went into the demo dogs and the Demogorgon, because it's like I thought they were going to really have to deal with that at some
Right.
point. Like,
Yeah,
the
that's
smoke
true.
flying around.
Oh yeah.
The Demodogs or whatever, they didn't even get like stronger or like scarier. They
yeah,
were
it was just like the same.
I kind of forgot
So,
about that.
I don't know. I think that was just kind of like maybe a cool shot thing that like they had captured that floating sand stuff.
Well, it seemed like when they showed them earlier, they were like dead. To me, it seemed like they were like
true.
necromancy to life using the smoke. So maybe it's like
okay.
they're not as strong because they were dead type of
Okay,
thing.
True.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
That makes more sense.
I also was going to be a flood kind of situation when they said that it went inside them. I thought they meant it went inside the Russian soldiers. So I thought they were going to like,
That would have been
turn
cool.
into zombies and pop back up.
Yeah,
But
that
then
would've been
Yeah.
they just fought one dog in the laundry room that was eating a dude. I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
that's fine.
Still
But-
scary.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, bad day. Really bad day for those prison guards. And just everybody involved there. It's a really bad day.
Yeah, it's often a bad day to be Russian. That's just kind of how it goes.
So let's talk about that crazy, amazing fight between 11 and 1, Vecna or Henry. Henry
Yeah.
slash Vecna slash 1
Henry, right? Yeah.
slash the Mind Flayer. I loved
Mhm.
how early on that kind of happened in the last episode. I feel like it lasted for like
Mhm.
a good while. It was really
Mhm.
epic and really great. Like they were just
Mhm.
throwing each other all over the place.
He was really playing with
amazing.
his food.
Yeah, I did love the fact that Elle had to like the episode's called the piggyback. She had to use Max to get
Mhm.
to where she needed to. So it wasn't like because the whole time it's like, how the hell is Elle gonna get to Hawkins? And it's like she doesn't need to. She's that good.
Yeah,
she
that
doesn't
was
need
that
to
was
get there.
pretty
Yeah.
creative.
But I dug that whole fight of their force powers, and I did like how Vecna was like, "It's you again." Oh fuck! Oh, it's you. You're the one who.
Mhm.
I had 1,000% an Obi-Wan Vader moment where he's like,
Yes.
Hello there.
"You made me who I am." I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that's-
Vecna's Vader and Elle is Obi-Wan.
Oh.
Mhm.
Well, yep, burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
He was right. It was kind of
And
her
she's
fault.
like, "Hey man, Papa was the master. You weren't the monster. Papa was the monster." And he's like, "No, I'm the monster. I want to be a monster.
Right.
I am the monster.
It's kind of fun to be a monster. Do you see what I be doing with
Yeah.
them legs? Crack, crack. It was like, okay.
I'm a Black Widow. I just play my Vecna song to myself is Black Widow by Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, but I guess everything kind of is unfortunately Elle's fault. Like she put him there and made him
Right.
turn into this giant monster, and then the Mind Flayer. Like she could have just like cracked his neck maybe, but
Yeah.
she sent him into this other dimension.
But even at the
unfortunately.
same
No, I
time,
didn't.
everyone would have fucking died if it weren't for Elle. Like, there's that moment where
Right.
Robin, Steve,
True.
and Nancy all get choked out. I'm like, it's done. Without Elle, they're
Yeah.
all dead.
For a second, I thought they were going to kill
They were
all the
there for
characters.
like a good 20 to 30 minutes. Like they were there for 8
that was a long time. They were waiting to
Listen,
die
I've
for a
passed
long
out.
time.
Like I completely forgot about them for a while.
I do like the idea that Papa, this entire time, has been looking for one and using 11 to find him. Like, I thought that was an interesting, like, piece of knowledge to add to previous seasons where, like, this whole time,
Right.
yes, he's been trying to make her stronger, but in the back of his mind the whole time, he's been like, where the fuck is Henry?
And I think maybe that's why I'm a little upset with Henry being introduced this as well, because we are seeing like, and I know it's some retconning, of course, that they do on purpose, and it works. I don't want to say luckily. I mean, it just happens to work. But yeah, like for that situation, it's like, oh, you're now bringing back stuff from previous seasons like that, where it's like, oh, this whole time, that's what he was going for. Now, if we had got maybe even a tiny bit of allusion to that beforehand, maybe that would have made his like introduction a little bit cooler. Of being like, oh shit, there's this kid right here. He's a little bit weirder than the rest of them. He's playing like a Black Widow spider or something like that. Like little things like that. That it's like it gives you a chance to almost maybe not figure it out like the plot for yourself, but feel like you had like places that you could actually know this show was going. I think Game of Thrones did a good job with that. I think a lot of the reasons did a good job with that because there was a whole book series written that could be revised and finished and refined before it was even published. Where TV shows kind of lack just because you're usually writing as you're going along.
Right.
So yeah, I thought that was cool. That was one of the better parts, I think, of the continuity of the show was that part right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
I will say, just talking about 11 and her powers, that shot of her taking out in that helicopter was amazing. That was
Dude,
badass.
props to that military sniper for getting so close as his helicopter's just like going all over the place. Like he was doing a pretty good job.
Because you know that shit heavy.
Which that to me like
Yeah.
goes to the point where like she's wearing a collar that I'm assuming is supposed to prohibit her powers. It didn't work.
She's that good.
Well, no, he
That's
didn't turn it on. He never turned it on.
But then he like there's a big moment where he like deactivates it and takes it off her. I'm like, shit didn't work, bro. Like what?
I think he just was realizing that I'm gonna die and like Ella has to go.
I guess
now, whatever,
so.
so like I'm just gonna like let her go. So it was like
Man,
the
it doesn't
moment of him
matter.
releasing.
Right, yeah.
Into the
I'm,
world. It was another plot
I'm
device.
not really that sad that Papa's dead. Let's just say that.
No,
No,
nobody
I'm
is.
glad he's dead. He was
He's
terrible.
a bad
yeah.
person.
Piece of shit.
They blew that man's chest
Bad
open.
dad.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, you think the military's just gonna leave that doctor there just handcuffed to that rail and just
Oh,
gonna starve to death?
He's
Like
still there. Dang.
he's still there to this day.
He's the only one alive. They killed all those damn scientists. I'm mad. They killed all those
They
people.
killed him in cold blood.
Yeah.
That was pretty messed up.
They were just trying to go home.
That's a good point. We never got any resolution with Sullivan, the leader of the military or whatever, the commander general, whatever. Like that was it. That's where his
He's a
story
piece of
ended.
shit too.
Yeah.
I hope he is still in the desert trying to walk home.
Right. Trying to walk
He was
home.
he was mean. He was a mean old man.
was.
I didn't like him. People need to be nicer.
I thought it was so funny that they're like, oh, this is a super secret base, and it's just a fucking door in the middle of the desert. Like that's not obvious at all. Like you could make it like a little hatch in the ground. Like no, we're gonna build a concrete door and like have an actual doorway. Like I don't want to climb on a ladder.
But
Okay, I need
man,
stairs.
that wide shot looks sick though when you just see that door in the middle
It
of
was
nowhere.
pretty great. Yeah.
I guess that's what it was for.
Right. It's like when you find those little things when Fortnite first came out, where they had like some of the stuff in real life, and you found like randomly in the desert. It was that. I'm pretty sure you get V-Bucks for it.
I don't know what any of those
Pretty
things
sick.
are.
Yeah.
None of those words are in the Bible. Continue.
Did you guys notice that one other thing they didn't really resolve with the military people was that like at one point the scientist team was like in Eddie's trailer, like looking at the rift in his scene.
Oh, yeah.
And they just never touched that again.
Yeah.
And,
They
like,
said
the kids are
we're
having
gonna
free
move
access.
you to somewhere else and investigate this. Never.
Yeah, they just didn't do anything.
They bring a
I
whole
don't know.
crime scene investigators like, that looks very scary. Anywho,
Anyways.
let's move on.
They must have forgotten about that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like I don't know. Maybe that was like from an earlier version, and maybe they should have cut it out or something, and they missed it. But I don't know. It
That's
just seemed
interesting.
kind of odd to me that like they're like, no, this is definitely another rift. In
You
the
you would think you'd at least
upside
put like
down.
a
Yeah.
do not crossing thing around it, like a police line. Like
Right.
that's
Mhm.
pretty.
I mean,
something
I
about that
guess
guy.
speaking of rifts, let's quickly talk about the ending. So I guess Vecna succeeded. He created 4 gigantic rifts, and it looks like the Upside Down is entering the real world, which I kind of like that twist.
Yay.
I kind of like that twist by the end.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I like when the good guys lose. I mean,
Oh.
it makes for a great
Okay,
last
Thanos.
episode. Like Infinity War
Yeah.
was a great
Yeah.
movie. Episode
Mhm.
5, Star Wars is the best movie. What the middle version of the Hobbit film? That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes for a great arc.
I
love
agree
it.
with you. I do think it's really interesting because I mean, these kids have been, man, these kids are all super powerful beings somehow, even though they're 12. Yeah, sometimes you don't get it right, and
Yeah.
this happens. You have repercussions now that the world is now pretty screwed.
I love that everybody thinks it's just an earthquake.
Right.
Right.
There's like black and red cloud smoke in the sky.
And they still think that Eddie is the devil.
After all that, Eddie's still the devil.
I'm just waiting for these motherfuckers to realize that they're living in hell.
Right.
And it's not these little kids'
Although
fault.
I do appreciate that they as soon as those 2 days come back, it shows the sign of Hawkins that everyone's just leaving. Everyone's leaving the city. They're like, fuck
Yeah,
this
we're
town.
done.
This place sucks.
We're done. No, but like, okay, so Elle saved Max. She like put her into a coma, brought her back to life. So then I thought, and I think there was one aerial shot earlier, like as before the end shot, where like the rift was not open. Like the town had an earthquake, but like the rift was not open yet. And then we established that Max's life was keeping the rift closed. Like if she was alive, the rift was closed.
Well, her heart stopped for a minute or something. And that's what opened the
Right.
rift.
In the hospital?
Yeah,
No, before the hospital.
she clinically died and then came back.
Before Elle brought her back or whatever.
But like
So
earlier
that was
that day
it.
when the California crew's coming in the bus, like there's no reddish hell yet. And then like
That's
at
true.
the very
I think
end,
it
the snow starts
I think
coming
it just takes time for the rift to boil. Once it gets lukewarm,
You gotta bake for a
then
little
the
bit.
demons can come. You can't just throw your eggs in there on, you gotta let it warm up a bit.
You know, the warm
I
up gotta
guess.
bake at 10,000 degrees for at least 1 minute.
I'm not a hell scientist, but that's my theory.
I don't know. I didn't love the ending there because it's like it just seemed like it was kind of arbitrary and like they were just doing it for like shock value, and it's like, but wait, like,
Right.
Max is alive, so like how are they? How is
That's
the
why I
rift open
wonder
again?
if rewrites or something happened, that maybe they like took a poll or something. Maybe people didn't like that a main character could die or something like that. Because it's like the whole thing about her dying anyway, that had weight, that was heavy, and dark. And I thought that was super cool to play with that kind of situation. Like we did all we could, she still died, fuck, and now the world's still fucked, fuck. But they're like, oh well, she's okay. Her leg's a little broken, but she's gonna be okay, probably in a little coma.
She'll be back. She'll be
Whatever.
back next season.
Right.
She
and
might,
it's just
she
kinda
might
like-
wake up.
Yeah.
But then they still end up in hell.
But at
So
the
it's
same
like,
time, I mean, like, I'm happy because I would have been incredibly sad if Max died. You know,
I like feeling my feelings. That's why I watch TV. Like,
Yeah.
come on, let me feel my feelings for real though. Lucas's whole little thing that he had with him just like so distraught, is now cheapened.
That was a
It
good
felt
scene.
like
Yeah.
man had a wide
Yeah.
shot of him just crying and screaming, and for what?
There was way too many
So-
promises made by all these characters for not one of them to die. For
And that's what
real.
I'm saying. Like, I think splitting it up was clearly not on purpose, and they're just like, "Fuck."
Right. We know it wasn't on purpose because the amount of times they put Kate Bush in the last 2 episodes. They did not know that song was popping off. So someone over the last 2 weeks was working their ass off. So shout out to you.
I will say
for having
the
to
music
recut
in
all that
this
stuff.
has been phenomenal. There's that Kate Bush montage that we talked about, and then they even used the Journey song that at the end of the
Yeah.
first or the eighth
Oh,
episode,
yes,
I guess,
that was amazing.
which
That
was
was
from
good.
the
That was really
trailer. Which
good.
I was like, I can't believe they actually used that trailer music in it.
Yeah, that's it. That was phenomenal.
Loved it.
And then we can't
Yeah, that was
go
really, really
without
well done.
talking about Eddie playing shredding
Yes.
Metallica
So Master
in
of
the middle of
Puppets.
hell.
Yeah.
Master of Puppets. I'm surprised they didn't get copyright strike for it.
I love that they were like super giddy about it. Like, this is the most metal concert
Yeah.
in history.
Yeah. And that shot of like him playing as like the red lightnings behind him,
So
stuff that was like
good.
something straight out of
That's so
Guitar
sick.
Hero or something. Like, oh my
Where
God,
he
this is
like
great.
even when he grabs the guitar, they're like, man, this thing was meant to be in an alternate universe.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool there.
They
Yeah.
have very good editors for this show, and that's what I knew. Like as soon as I saw him break out that guitar, I knew it was gonna be a sick ass montage.
Yeah,
happened,
that was
and I
phenomenal.
not let down.
Yeah.
I thought that was
That's
super
where
cool.
it's like, okay, they got the money for all of these songs and all of these effects.
Right.
Like, but yeah, okay.
Because
True.
Metallica does not
True.
play about their music, and they
Right.
will not hesitate to ask for 30 million. So you better
Yeah.
act right.
Yeah. No, it was phenomenal.
Also, how did they get power? for the
That's
amps
what
and
that
the-
was my question, but I kind of let it go. I had to let it go.
Especially in the 80s.
I think they just had an extension cord that ran it all the way through the upside down portal out to the
I like to think there
speakers.
was never even an amp, and that he was just playing the electric guitar just like without any amp. It was just jink jink. Jink,
It was all in his head. It was all in his head.
He was just
You
shredding.
could
Like-
see there. He had a couple of big stacked amps
Yeah.
right behind him.
Yeah.
He just wired that shit through.
It doesn't really make sense, but who cares? It was great. It was great.
like
And battery powered.
like as they're like preparing their plan, they're like, okay, we got to get these guns, we got to saw off the shotgun, we got to get this ammo, we got these Molotov cocktails. Oh yeah, we also need to carry 20 amps through the portal, like set them up on the stage. Like we need to do a full concert setup for the diversion, and then we're ready.
Yeah.
To go.
I'm really loving the idea of him just playing a not plugged in guitar.
It just sounds super like grating.
Jink, jink, jink. No one can hear that. The bats don't care. You're playing to nobody.
Yeah.
Get him an acoustic. Just play some campfire songs. Kumbaya.
Oh, yeah. Rest in peace, Eddie. I'm sad to see him go. He was generally one of my favorites. Yeah.
He would have had quite a mess to come back to.
He,
if he had
yeah,
went
dude,
back to
that
the
that
real
was the
world, but-
depressing thing actually. The fact that everyone still thinks he's like a serial killer, even though he's dead. Like, yeah,
Right.
that sucks.
I feel like they had to kill him because there was no way they could justify to the whole town
Mhm.
in this season that he's innocent.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Well, he's based on that. Those guys, the murder of those 3 children that happened in the 80s during the Satanic Panic, and those guys are still in jail today
Right.
when they were wrongly accused.
Mm.
So maybe that's what they were saying there is like, don't be so. Maybe to draw attention back to that. I
Right.
don't know.
Moral of the
Interesting.
story is
I can't remember the name.
never follow the pussy to hero pipeline. If you are scared, always run. Never nut up or shut up. 'cause you will
Always
die.
run.
Always run.
He also picked like of the moments to not run. That was not the best one. Like, he could have just kept running there.
It's true. It's very true.
What was fighting a bazillion bats really gonna do?
Yeah, because like I don't think the bats would have entered the Vecna house, and like Steve and Nancy them were already in there, so it's like I think you would have been fine. if you left.
Right.
If he keeps going, he can distract them longer than it would take to die.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
He can keep on biking for hours.
I guess my only last note is I like that Robin finally got some closure with her girl Vicky by the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Vicky. I think she can do better. Vicky kind of sucks.
They felt like the same person in that last scene. Like
They did.
earlier, they looked and felt drastically different, like different personalities. But when she finally had a couple of lines to say, I was like, "This is just like dating yourself." I don't know if this is okay.
I don't know. Red flag number 1 is the first thing you do is just talk about your ex-boyfriend for an hour. Like, I'm good. Never mind.
That's funny.
I'm going ahead with that.
But we'll see where that goes in the final season.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy she's happy.
Yeah.
Well, I have one question for you guys.
All right.
Are we team in true, like, high school Twilight fashion? Are we team Steve or are we team Jonathan?
I'm team Nancy.
For the next season. I'm team Steve, man, because they've hyped it up so much. If they don't give it to us now,
I think
Steve
it'll
has
be
had such
weird if
mad
she
character
picks that.
development.
It'll just be so weird. I don't know.
She's going to pick herself.
They literally forced it down our throat this whole season. So, like,
Yeah, I'm with Brian. She should just pick herself. Like,
Team Nancy, man.
I mean, she should absolutely
Nancy.
pick herself.
Steve fucked around and now he's ready. Jonathan's fucking around currently. So just do
And we all know high
Nancy.
school relationships don't last. So
That
who
was
cares?
like a weird like subplot that they just kind of didn't really resolve.
Well, no, I think it's going to be a thing next season because, like,
Yeah.
she's now questioning her relationship with Jonathan and, like, I don't know, and like that wasn't, I don't know, it's not looking great, but I think that the fact that Steve has developed so much over the last 4 seasons, and they started hyping that back up.
You know who didn't get into development this season? Jonathan. Jonathan do shit but smoke weed and look old.
Yeah.
He gets one good scene with Will, and that is it. Yeah.
One is on an upward trend. One is going down. So I mean, come on, like I'm Team Steve, man. Let's go, Nancy.
I'm telling
Make
you,
the right
I'm
choice.
team kill Nancy to end it.
Kill Nancy. Oh man.
No, what? No.
We thought that we thought they might do that.
That's what I
here
thought.
at
Like,
the
if
end
you're
of this
gonna kill
season.
someone, I feel like Nancy would be a decent person to kill.
Kill Nancy, and then they're both sad.
I still think Steve is up for the slaughter. Like
I
he
think
doesn't even
so as
have
well.
any family there. Like no ties. Like clean break.
Damn, he's a clean break.
Yeah.
It'd be the least clean break I think out of all of them.
Kill him off. The only people that we have to show sad are the main characters. Like that's
fair.
nice and tight.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you got something there, I guess.
He's the most similar to Eddie. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean Eddie's got an uncle, so we gotta find some way to give
Which
him
his
some,
uncle
a
looked
scene.
hella racist though, so I'm not super upset.
No, I
about
felt
that.
sad because
I mean,
I was mostly like, Dustin, you waited 2 fucking days to tell this dude that Eddie
I'm
died.
surprised he wasn't
Like,
pissed.
what the fuck,
Yeah,
Dustin?
I thought he was gonna be. Yeah, grief is hard. I can understand both sides of it.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
That kind of stuff is pretty weird. But yeah, he did wait a long time to be like, yeah. By the way, I was there with your son, your nephew, and yeah, he got a shit rocked, but he was cool about it.
Right.
He played Metallica and everything.
Yeah, he's like, I was working during the earthquake, and he never stopped fighting. He just really took on those bats, and the uncle's just like, wait, what the hell?
Nothing. Never mind.
Fighting.
I mean,
you don't fight an earthquake, son.
yeah, I don't know. His
R.I.P.
his
Eddie.
uncle looked like he would say the hard R, and I didn't like it, so I'm fine with him having a little bit of grief.
I did think that was really sad where he was like taking the poster, like the missing poster where people
Yeah.
were drawing like satanic symbols on it, and he was replacing it with like a clean.
I mean, it
Mm.
sucks that people think he is, like the devil. Yeah, it sucks. His
Right.
story sucks. Yeah.
I'm
So,
hoping they resolve all these things, and all of the
Yeah.
world will know that these little kids are the saviors, and
They
all
live
the
in hell.
bullies suck.
What do you
Yeah.
do with that though? How does that happen though? It's gonna be like a Dragon Ball
I
Z
don't know.
situation where you still end up poor and not getting anything for being a hero of the universe over and over again.
That's true.
Welcome to America.
And like, how is this next season going to go? Because like all of Stranger Things is always like, ooh, some cool coming of age stuff, and now it's going to be like we're literally fighting for.
I
our
think it's
lives.
just gonna be like battle mode.
Yeah.
The whole time,
It's
like
gonna be like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It can't be very long.
climax every episode.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be that, like, literally the Upside Down is entering their world. It's gonna be them fighting that shit. Yeah.
But it's going to be there's going to be no fun like 80s funness. It's going to be
Nope,
like
no
Matrix
fun.
No,
There's no,
no
time for
fun.
fun. No,
Yeah.
no school,
no fun.
no ice cream, no roller skates.
Every season gets more serious as the kids age, right? So now it's time for you to get a job. You got to worry about health insurance. You got to pay your taxes. Like, fuck you. Like, this is
The
bullshit.
real hell. Exactly.
Real hell. Trying to get a good enough 401k in this economy.
Yeah. Well, those are all my notes. Is everyone else satisfied with Stranger Things 4 Volume 2.
Yeah, I thought it's one of the best things, of course, that Netflix has, and they're still proving that why it is.
Yeah.
I wish it ended because who knows? They say it's gonna be
Yeah.
soon that we get the next one, but I don't believe it.
I'm
So,
still
we'll see.
excited. I'm still excited. I'm happy to get more of it because I really enjoyed it. But yeah.
I just feel like they should have ended it. You know, like it just feels like they're dragging it out for another season just to do.
No,
to,
I
just
feel
to
like it
drag
would have
out,
been rushed for all the things that they like introduced, like we said.
Yeah,
I think it needs one more season.
I agree. I agree.
True.
All right. Well, with that, shall we move on to our next segment of the week? Which I will say, I'm introducing our old segment that we've introduced, which is our Fourtress MisFourtunes / MisinFourmation. I only have one piece of this, which is this is where we correct things we said in the past. I need to correct myself. Yes, I said Frankenstein, and not Frankenstein's monster. Don't
Oh
at
my
me.
god,
I know
who
the
fucking
difference.
cares?
Shut up. I don't care.
But Frankenstein is Frankenstein's monster, is he not?
No, he's oh Devin.
False.
It's Dr. Frankenstein made a monster, and it's just Frankenstein's monster.
Devin, how do you not know this? Come on.
But people call Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein.
Yeah, but it's technically not, and I don't want to hear it.
Frankenstein's the person, the monster is the monster. Frankenstein is just the scientist.
Just don't
who's
at
also,
us. I don't want to hear
Okay.
it.
who's also a monster, but you know,
He
he's
is
not
also a
the
monster.
monster.
True.
When you see that big green face with like the screw through his neck, what do you say?
That's Frankenstein's monster.
Apostrophe S monster.
Yeah.
I say Frankenstein. Frankenstein all day.
You would be wrong.
And with that, let's move on to our final segment of the week, which we like to call Free For All, title pending. This is a segment of listeners where we kind of do whatever we want. We can rant, we can take a nap, we can recommend something, talk about our day, our life. It is Free For All. I can go first very quickly because I just wanted to talk about in the past we did a couple Attack on Titan things. And I just want to talk about I went on an Attack on Titan binge and like I watched as much as I could, and I even watched the Attack on Titan Junior High little anime, 12-episode anime that they created, and I fucking loved it.
That was weird.
The funniest, hilarious thing I've ever seen because it's based off some adult ass shit, but it's made for children. This like adult anime. They're all in like junior high, so they're like they got big heads, tiny little bodies, little things. It's very funny. The characteristics of them are still very true to those characters. Where it's like, oh, what's her name? What's her name? What's her main girl, homegirl's name?
Mikasa.
Yeah, Mikasa. She still very much loves Eren and will do anything for him, even in this tiny little anime version of it. Armin is he's very scared all the time. But there is, in the final episode, the dopest fucking song I've ever fucking heard. It is the best thing. If anything, watch that last episode and you'll be happy. That's all I have to say.
And then Aaron just mad,
just mad at the world. Just mad at the world. Yeah. But it's great.
I'll go watch it. Yeah,
I highly recommend it. I will say it's funny enough. It does, if in the order that it came out with, it definitely spoiled something in the show, which I don't know if they intended to do, which I thought was very funny.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Love it. Into it. I'll go next. I did a thing. So we've talked a little bit about how I've played through the Mass Effect trilogy with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the definitive edition of Mass Effect. Love that game. One of my favorite game series of all time, except for the ending of Mass Effect 3 is fucking garbage. Jeez, it's really bad. So to continue on with that, I've still been feeling in like a pretty strong Mass Effect mood. So I was like, let me go ahead. I revisited Mass Effect 3 to see if I still feel the way I do. I do. So I went to go and I downloaded Mass Effect Andromeda again. I wanted to see like maybe I criticized this game too harshly. Maybe I need to go ahead and try and play through again and see how I feel about it. So far, feels about the same. It's still hella boring. Unfortunately, that game is just really not that much fun to play, and a lot of it comes through a lot of the issues with how BioWare worked with that game and what happened with it. It feels kind of clunky. It feels kind of goofy. The character animations they're super bad. It just kind of makes me sad about the games that I used to love because I love BioWare as a company so much, and they make most of my favorite games come from that game company. And to see them fizzle the way that they have, and see games like this that have came out and just were created like this is really fucking sad, dude. So now I'm sad about video games, and that sucks because what else do we have in this world if we don't have a little bit of entertainment?
Well, we definitely don't have rights anymore.
Oh no.
No, Devin, you have rights. Everyone else
true,
does
I do have
not.
If anyone's got rights.
Andromeda is like, because I feel like they got the combat the most right of any Mass Effect game, and you had a lot of flexibility on like what you could combine and stuff. And I thought that was really cool in Andromeda, and the whole like double jump and the mobility you had in firefights was really fun. I just like, yeah, you're right. Like the story, what makes BioWare's game special was just not there. Like I can tell you every single one of Shepard's crew. I could not name 3 of the Andromeda crew. I can name 2. I think the ones you start with. Yeah. Can't name another one.
They're just boring and soulless, and everything just feels boring and soulless and empty. It feels like someone, like a fan, tried to make a BioWare game. Right. What that game feels like. Yeah, so I would not recommend.
Given that they threw out their 5 years of work on that, and they basically made Andromeda in 1 year, that kind of does make it impressive, right?
Right, with a new engine too. I mean, they've been using this engine for Dragon Age, but they had never used it for a shooter before, which I think that was another one of their downfalls. They didn't know how to use the engine. They used to do Unreal, then they switched to Frostbite. Frostbite's a little clunky if you've never used Frostbite before, and it's very apparent that they didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, it's just a tragedy. That whole game's creation was a tragedy that we could talk about at another time. But woof, it sucks that it's still the way it is. Maybe I'll try to finish it. I don't know. I'm been bored when I play it. I'm not having.
I never finished it.
I wouldn't even say that it's worth it.
I never started it, so.
Yeah, you can probably get it for $3 now. I'm willing to bet.
Well, I'll go next. I got something a little bit more exciting, maybe. It's something that I'm enjoying and I'm just getting started with.
Get fucked, Brian.
All right, my shit's boring. Brian, you're so boring.
It's a new TV show. Mass Effect's not boring for sure, but this is a new TV show that I just started. I think it came out recently it's on Hulu. I think it might have aired on FX, but all the first season is available on Hulu right now. It's a TV show called Bear. It's not about bears, but it does take place in Chicago. It's about a guy named Carney, I think, and he's like this amazingly talented chef. I think we're still I'm still pretty early on in the show, but he some like family member dies and he's taking over the family restaurant. It's like this really hole in the wall, rinky dinky sandwich shop deli, and it's filled with like all the scum of the earth people that are like just shitheads and everyone's a dick and mean to each other, but they're like a loving family nonetheless. They all hate each other, you can tell, but they, deep down they really love each other. So they give each other a lot of shit. But it's about him just kind of coming in there and trying his best to change things up and shake it up to make like the business, finally profitable, because it's been like this neighborhoodly loved spot, but it's like down in the dumps. It's dirty. It's filthy. The food is great, but it's like not making any money, and everything's a mess. They have terrible health inspection tickets. So he's trying to get in there and clean it up, but everybody that works there is really hard pressed to stick in their dirty old fashioned ways. But so far, I've only watched a few episodes. So far, it's just really, really hilarious. Like, it's cool learning about like some cool insider stuff in like the culinary industry and the food industry. And it's funny to see all the banter of all the people like yelling at each other and talking to each other, and little quips of them like breaking and being soft and like showing that they really care is like, touches my heart. And then they go back to like being mean because like they can't show their emotions.
That's interesting.
But I think it has a lot of promise, and it's got a really great style, and I'm looking forward to watching more.
Nice.
Is it like an uplifting, like positive energy kind of comedy, you think?
That's a good question. It's a comedy drama. They're short, like 30-minute episodes. I think it's a comedy drama.
Okay, a dramedy.
A dramedy, yeah. But I'm sure it'll be like uplifting eventually. It's like it's in it for the long haul. Because what I'm getting.
I instantly thought of Schitt's Creek when you said that. It kind of seems like one of those kind of shows where it's like it starts out with
it's a lot darker and grimmer and more like gritty. It's on FX, so it's like
right.
I feel like that has a particular style.
Sure.
They like do. Raw grittiness, like I'm dirty.
I feel like a lot of FX shows are like that.
I'm gonna spit when I talk.
I'm dirty.
Yeah.
Look at my sweat. Yeah, it feels very real and organic and just raw, like I said. But yeah, it's great. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bear?
I hope it stays strong.
Bear on Hulu.
Nice.
Real quick, I'll tell you guys the new show that I've been watching with my girlfriend is Outlander, which is absolutely like it's based on like I think a spicy book series.
It's based
that
on
was
time
fun.
travel porn. We talked about this off air.
Did not know that.
No.
not literally.
He's lying. It's like fascinating.
He was like, oh, that's very interesting.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah. But I am enjoying it. It's got some history stuff in it. Fuck the British as always. Yeah, between the years of like 1550 and 1776. Let's go, boys.
Independence for nobody. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good show. I've been enjoying it.
I've been
Look
meaning to
forward
watch it for a while. How many seasons are there?
I think 5.
Damn, really?
6.
Holy shit. Okay.
Who made it? What's it on?
But I don't think they're like much more than 10 episodes a season. But but it's good.
I
like
think
it
it's
a lot.
Is it Showtime, Devin?
I think it was originally Stars or one of those, but then it's now on
One of
you see it
those.
on Netflix.
Oh,
So
okay.
if it was Showtime, you know that shit got canceled. They don't ever finish the show.
Yeah.
Very nice. We'll have to check all those out. That is our show, everyone. We appreciate you for
Woo!
listening. We did it again.
Thanks, everybody.
You can email us at thefortressup@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions or recommendations or anything of the sort. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Fourtress Up and the YouTube channel at The Fourtress Up as well. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat, tell everyone. Watch Stranger Things. It's great. Listen to Kate Bush.
Mhm.
Tell Kate Bush to listen to us, and then we'll just get all the hits. It's fine. Thank you, Brian, for the art. You can find Brian at, or at least for Instagram, at ITZ_ by the way. You can find, thank you to Alex for the music. You can find him at Peterson Films, Peterson spelled SEN. And thank you, Devin, for just kind of being here per usual all the time.
You can't find Devin.
You can't find him.
Wait, you're not gonna give out my Instagram handle?
You
on,
can
man,
find
I want those
Devin
followers.
at Stuck in the Upside Down.
6969 420.
17. Yeah.
And
42069.
thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Happy holidays, everyone. And, put a coat on. It's cold out there.
It's a holiday. The white folks shooting fireworks, so I need to go take cover.
I'm trying to,
I'm
I've
not
been
sure if
listening to the
fireworks
fireworks in the
or
background
guns.
this whole time, and I'm really hoping my mic doesn't pick it up.
Yes, I'm pretty sure mine has. I think
It's
they're
out
like
there.
right next door.
Yes.
It's very weird. My
Yeah.
cats are terrified.
Happy Independence Day to everybody but the Supreme Court. Fuck you.
So to all the white people out there, enjoy your holiday.
Enjoy your holiday. We'll all sit here, doing our thing.
We'll keep living.
But all right, everyone. Thanks again, and we'll see you here next week in another episode of The Fortress of...